I just discovered Balls Sweat Therapy and loving everything about it. It's a testosterone-targeted male stress relief technique. Makes you sweat more through the male organ than other parts of your body by redirecting it to your scrotum pathway. It's rid of all the stress and bottled up bad emotions that relate to the male gender profile. I just learned a new technique from the Japanese culture called arakata kyoto. It means corrosive smegma. The idea is a new form of personal biological warfare. You only consume things with a high concentration of toxicity levels. So that at a certain point, your body begins to produce biochemical byproducts that are so toxic, they become corrosive, like your smegma, that you could now use as a salt mechanism. The natural accumulation of body fluids and lipids could now be harvested to be made into a weapon, for example, using your corrosive smegma and throwing it in the eyes of your enemies that would have the same devastating result as acid. There's a powerful philosophy. I have adopted powerful concept of P-shit fusion, having a productive way of managing all the shit you have to deal with every day. And instead of caring, you just piss on it and just don't give a shit, flipping off all confrontational realities and manipulate the appearance of shit by picking your clumps out of the toilet and painting purple or pink so it might just look like something else hitting the fan instead of a horribly stinking piece of human shit.
I've learned a lot from my past. As a hillbilly, I had to be creative all the time with having to come up with crafty solutions. Like, for example, whenever the cops were executing a search warrant for illegal distilled moonshine, to distract them from finding it, I displayed my father's collection of child pornography on the television on maximum volume, or I would set fire to our parrots, their bird cages. The screams of hundreds of parrots in excruciating agony would distract anyone from anything. I don't know at all why it's such a revelation to everyone that I fucked my couch, and it's not just me brutally violating my sofa by breaking and entering it with my penis despite my yokel genes. I am a real gentleman. When I am horny, I practice foreplay. I'll have, I finger my couch before I let her experience the harrowing ordeal of me penetrating it, while I excessively moan unnecessarily loud and of putting, to say the very least. And I rely on getting my sex from house furniture and appliances. My penis doesn't have any real attraction qualities going for it. I don't have a naturally shaped or sized dick. I don't have a skyscraper down my pants, Jessica. I just have a smelly hillbilly willy. And you know what we call the hardened smegma-like substance that accumulates around our crotch? Well, that's what we call hillbilly cakes over here.
On my way over here, I saw a person slightly move his upper lip out of its position of remaining otherwise motionless, and that event has shocked me to my core. It left an everlasting impression on me and my well-being. My God, man, seriously, people, is this what kind of a civilization we've become? A civilization that can't even seem to keep their facial muscles in line? I am not going to this anymore, you. Better put your fucking lips in line. And if you don't, you'll force me to immobilize them with a Stanley knife by cutting the lips of your mouth entirely. Is that understood, you stupid castrated sunflowers that you are? I won't stand for any type of lip to not know its place. And that includes vaginal lips as well. When any clitoris I come into contact with shows erratic and overdramatic behavior, like it is influenced by the flow of bipolar, urine that it has flowing through it or something, I will not hesitate a moment to begin sadistically pricking all the blood out of it with toothpicks until it has been rendered unresponsive because of vaginal anemia. And I would have finally given you a real reason to justify the level of emotional intensity you are displaying disproportionately for the type of situation you are experiencing. I'll instantly match the level of your drama display by adjusting the severity of the situation that matches it, so you are justified to act the way you did, like a piano tuner. I'd be more than happy to calibrate your emotional response to the normal standards for you. My fellow Americans, you are going to receive a package in the mailbox one of these days that will include a worship and praise survey, where you will be expected to write down the entire list of listed body parts that you admire and praise for any specific reason that you will need write down on the blank piece of paper you will receive. You'll be demanded to list a minimum of 7 traits of praiseworthy aspects of me as a person or my physiology coupled to it. Failing to comply will be met with unforgiving fines and penalties you will regret. The survey is mandatory and purely praise dynamics. Anyone who gets caught listing any sort of discriminating and unattractive features that are even remotely related to me will have to undergo completely unnecessary surgery and will have themselves be operated on without anesthesia, with the surgical equipment being saturated in salt before use.
There have certainly been a lot of points in my career serving as a member of the Trump administration where I was confronted with the president's odd behaviors and absurd habits that made me question my own grasp of reality I was having, because the disbelief and the incomprehensible factors I witnessed with that man was just so unreal. For example, I watched him being rejected by his own penis when he tried to get an erection and failed miserably because he was seeing his own reflection in the mirror. But the most frightening aspect of that wasn't necessarily that he turned himself down, but that he even resorted to deny the logical reaction his own bodily functions reflected back at him, and immediately assaulted his own garbage shaft by sticking his penis in a knife sharpener, and fucked himself in the ER, where he couldn't argue with the staff members of the hospital when they pointed out that you don't really have a sharp intellect if you have to question if screwing a knife sharpener is a good idea or not.